In your deepest trouble, where do you instinctively turn for help? Let that question sit with you for just a moment. We're going to find the answer together in a powerful, ancient song of faith. Welcome to the Pilgrim's Rest channel. Our purpose here is to introduce spiritual books that have been passed down through the generations so that every saint walking the heavenly journey can find rest, nourishment, and renewed strength. We are here to introduce Spurgeon's Treasury of David, chapter by chapter, and today we're diving into the incredible wisdom of Psalm 20. You know, when you first read Psalm 20, it almost sounds like a national anthem for ancient Israel. It feels like a prayer for King David right before he and his army marched into battle. But the great preacher Charles Spurgeon saw something so much deeper. He saw this as a prophetic prayer from the very heart of the church, a cry for her true king, Jesus, as he faced his ultimate battle. Think about it. This prayer really frames Christ's whole life. Sure, his days were filled with trouble, but this verse zooms in on his greatest trial, that incredible agony from the Garden of Gethsemane all the way to the cross. What Spurgeon saw here is just beautiful. He pictured the church, that's us, across all of time, crying out for our Savior in that dark, dark hour. It's such a powerful image of our connection to Christ's suffering and ultimately his victory. Okay, so that's a powerful idea, right? But why should we believe this prayer has any real power? I mean, why should any of our prayers actually be heard? Well, the psalm shows us that our confidence isn't just some kind of wishful thinking. No, it's built on a foundation that is absolutely rock solid. The psalm gives us these three incredible pillars for our confidence. First, we have help from the sanctuary. That's divine power sent straight from God's holy presence. Second, there's strength out of Zion. Now, this represents the combined prayers of God's people, the church. And believe me, those prayers are never wasted. And third, the most crucial one of all, is the remembrance of sacrifice. And this verse, wow, this is the ultimate foundation right here. Back then, kings would offer sacrifices before a battle. But this verse is looking forward, prophetically, to the one perfect, all-sufficient sacrifice of Jesus Christ. His offering was totally and completely accepted by the Father. And that little word, Selah, it's a musical pause. It's like the writer is telling us, hey, stop right here, meditate on this, let this amazing truth sink in. Our prayers have power because of his perfect sacrifice. All right, so now the psalm takes a sharp turn. It pivots to its central conflict, and it presents us with this really stark choice. It's a tale of two completely different foundations for where we put our trust when trouble hits. And here it is, verse 7. This is the heart of the whole psalm. You have to understand, back in those days, chariots and horses were the absolute peak of military tech. They were the ultimate symbols of human power and might. So the contrast couldn't be more clear. You have visible, tangible, worldly strength on one side, and the invisible, promise-keeping God on the other. So that makes you think, doesn't it? What are our chariots and horses today? Maybe it's our career, or our bank account. Maybe it's our own talents and abilities or our status. These are the things we so often instinctively lean on. But the psalm calls us to a totally different kind of trust, one that isn't based on what we can see, but on who God is, his covenant love, his saving strength, his unchanging character, and his absolute faithfulness. And just so we're on the same page, when it says to remember the name of the Lord, that's way more than just recalling a title. It means actively, consciously relying on everything God has revealed about himself, his power, his mercy, all of his promises. It's a deep relational trust in his very being. You see, this choice of where we place our trust isn't just some small preference. It's a huge deal. It literally determines our destiny. And the psalm makes it crystal clear that these two paths lead to two very, very different endings. The outcome really couldn't be simpler. Those who put their faith in chariots, in human strength and worldly power, are ultimately brought down and fallen. Their foundation, it just crumbles. It's temporary. But for those who remember the name of the Lord, the exact opposite is true. We are risen and stand upright, held secure by a power that is eternal. Okay, so this is all great. It's an amazing ancient song. But how does it become our victory song, right here, right now? The psalm shows us that the connection is through his anointed, our king. And here's the best news of all. The Lord did save his anointed. Jesus was heard in his day of trouble. He was defended by the name of God, and he was raised from the dead, completely victorious over sin and death. And because he won,
We who are in him, we get to share in that very same victory. His salvation becomes our salvation.
And because of that, because the battle is already won, we don't have to live in fear. We get to live in celebration. We can rejoice in the salvation he accomplished for us, and we can boldly set up our banners. Think of a banner. It's a declaration of who you belong to. It's a sign of victory. In the name of our God, we can live with confidence and with joy, declaring to the whole world whose side we're on. So this all comes back to us, doesn't it? It brings us right back to a personal question. As you think about your own life, what are the chariots and horses you've been relying on? What worldly strengths or securities do you maybe need to loosen your grip on so you can fully and truly remember the name of the Lord our God? Let's close with the final verse of the psalm, and let's just make it our own prayer. It's such a beautiful summary of everything we've talked about, a cry for salvation directed to the Lord, and a confident plea to our King, Jesus, who always hears us when we call. Thank you for listening to the Pilgrim's Rest channel. You're welcome to like, subscribe, comment, and share it with fellow pilgrims around you so that we can support and encourage one another on this journey of faith. Hope to see you next time.